Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of the Magic Arena Run, and you're probably wondering, why am I looking at standard event? What possibly new thing could occur in standard right now? Well, actually, it's not something like new, but it's more like something free that came out. Okay, maybe not so free if you've been collecting your collections for quite a while, but for newer players, you'd probably be glad to know that there is actually this new video out from the Command Zone. It's a video on how to play Magic. Actually, I've been watching through part of it. It's actually a very interesting take. Um, I, I I like the way they walk through a lot of the stuff here. One other thing I would note though is that it's not just the video they gave; they also gave out a free code. So if you enter the code Game Nights, oh, actually, I should probably put that up there. So this is the yeah. So if you type in this code here, Game Nights, they'll give you a free deck. And what is this deck, you might be asking? Is it a really interesting deck, or is it a really super cheapo beginner deck? We're going to find out. So we're going to cash in this event with Avenging Angels. That's the deck they're giving you. So we're going to take a quick look what the deck has in store for us. And it has the very typical angel synergies, but I'm going to bring up some important matters here. One, all the cards here are pretty much Zendikar Rising forward. So cards from Core Set 2021 and before, we're not going to get them. And that's actually probably a good thing, because that makes this deck rotation friendly. I've seen some comment on the deck and they're making suggestions. Oh, you have to add you have to add 4 copies of the Speaker of the Heavens. Sure, I'd like to see people invest the 4 copies and then and get angry that their deck's not playable in standard 3 months later. I would say that's actually very irresponsible, and I don't recommend that kind of change. So but before I do recommend any changes at all, let's take a look what the synergies are. So first, let's set aside. It's actually a combination of angels and clerics. So we're gonna set aside the angels for now. So we got 3 copies of Youthful Valkyrie. This one's a set team booster card. We got Righteous Valkyrie. That one's in standard. Renegade Reaper. This one's also from the set team booster. So you're probably noticing there's a trend. A lot of the cards here are from are set teams booster exclusives. You're not really gonna get them from regular sets. Vengeful Reaper, however, is from the regular set. As is Furia's Retribution and Furia Judge of Valor. Rampage of the Valkyries, this one is, however, set team booster set, as is the Soul Valkyrie Harbinger. So we get this many angels and angel-like synergies. Technically, I'm counting these enchantments because they come with an angel token, 4/4, so not too bad. Also, you should probably include the Starnheim Unleashed. This one, there's plenty of angels in a decent package. So we got including the 4 non-angel spells, we have 12 actual angels. Then we have the cleric package, which actually synergizes very well because we have a bunch of them that are also clerics. Actually, it's probably just the ones that are also clerics are the Valkyrie, the Vengeful Reapers, and Furia, and also the Valkyrie Harbinger. So we got these that are clerics. We also get 3 copies of Cleric of Life's Bond, a single Luminarch Aspirant. Probably want this more for a more aggressive deck, but here at least it's a nice rare, especially if you haven't been playing since Zendikar Rising. It's a good way to get a copy of that. 3 copies of Expedition Healer. Of course, we need to have our commons. We have 2 copies of Starnheim Aspirant. This one's actually also a set team booster exclusive. It ties more in with angels, but it is still a cleric in a pinch. We also got Tabarax, which is actually a demon, but also a cleric. And actually, this is probably one of the best synergies, especially if you're going pure clerics, but it's also a good tie-in as well. This is actually more of a cleric deck than an angel deck, but we're seeing cross synergies all throughout, so we can't fault them that much. The other non-typical spells, 2 copies of Closing Statement, 3 copies of Bound in Gold. So outside of Rampage of the Valkyries and maybe Furious Retribution, not much in the way of removal here. So it appeals to the newer players. Like, I get to play all my stuff, I get to be proactive, I get to be aggressive. It does suffer from a lack of certain types of removal, so we're gonna see what cards are probably gonna go to make those fit. Most likely the Expedition Healers are going to get the axe in favor of removal. The Skemfar Shadow Sage, I'd like to give this one, test this one out. Vengeful Reaper's fine. Furia is probably an odd one. By the time you're playing Furia, it's unlikely you're going to have two spells in hand to play. It doesn't mean it's impossible, but it's a bit on the unlikely side, so that's something to consider. Also note that our mana base is an issue. We have the standard 24 lands, but we are so reliant on plains and swamps. I would have said that this is a good place to put Fabled Passage, but those are rotating out. So we're gonna have to make do with the campuses and Shine Shadow Snarls. I probably would prefer definitely the pathways here. We have quite a few costs that are okay. This double white doesn't really count. The double white and black here counts a bit, so as the white and the double black and Furia. So actually just coming away with 1 plains and 1 swamp in your opening hand should be fine. As is, the deck is leaning more towards white. Doesn't have a very great curve. It's kind of too flat. There's a good chance that you'll be stranded with a lot of 4s and 5s in your opening hand, so we probably will have to make cuts along those lines. Or add more lands. And based on those, we're going to give this deck a go and see how well or how poorly we do. We get to lose about 3 times, but we're going to try to get at least 5 games in. That should give us a good idea of what will survive and what will not. Also, I have no idea what kind of matchups we're going to be expecting. Also, we're going to be taking a look at how to upgrade this deck somewhat, so I'm going to give myself an allowance of like probably 6 rares because the pathways will account for like 4 of them already. Yes, you can see having this many basics is really a bad idea, especially if you're so reliant on getting early game plays. Like, this hand is super unkeepable. This hand is more keepable. We probably have to bin... We're probably gonna have to bin the Skemfar Shadow Sage. The Expedition Healer is pretty much there to... It's pretty much just there to bite the bullet. I would say it's literally cannon fodder. We missed the double white, but we still have a decent opener. At the worst case scenario, we can still cast this on end step. So we have 2 pieces of removal at least. I'm not too happy with running those in what seems to be rogues. Could just be plain control. We'll see what our opponent has. Really okay, look, leaning more towards control. I'm actually gonna play the second plains now. If anything, I want our opponent to be guessing what our... Well, if you're kinda in the know, and also doesn't help that I'm running sleeves that say Orzhov, but it's possible I could still be faking another color, but probably not. Also note, okay, of interest, our opponent just cycled out here. So since we don't have anything better to do, we're gonna foretell this safely. We're going to go into the attack, see if our opponent has removal. I'm actually hoping we can bait out as much removal as possible. Nope, our opponent is pure control, which is probably going to be a big issue here. I want to run out Furious Retribution ASAP. If only to distract our opponent somewhat. Raise Mind Tome. They probably could still have a kill spell. I'm actually looking into cards like, say, Poison the Cup or whatnot. So we're gonna attack first, see if this baits out something from our opponent. Okay, doesn't bait anything out. This one will probably eat the counter spell. It's sad, but I'm actually okay with this one eating. Oh, it did not eat the counter spell. Probably expecting Shadow's Verdict or Extinction Event, both of them being even. CMC is gonna be awkward. Our Angel tokens being even CMC is also gonna be awkward here. So we have to push the aggressive. So as you can see, cards like Closing Statement, it's supposed to be interesting, especially if you're a aggro heavy deck, but in the situation we're in right now, probably not gonna happen. Also have to consider that our opponent probably has another sweeper. We're in the age where black has actually not just 4, probably up to 12 sweepers. I do have 2 options here. I can cast the Starnheim Unleashed, probably eat another sweeper. That should open the way path for Skull Raid, and I would say. basically we're threatening to hit next turn with double striking angels. It might just eat two kill spells also, which I don't mind too much. Yep, extinction event. So our opponent has the the board wipe package. So as you can see, as a deck, we are in real trouble. So the most we can do is ding our opponent for cards. Skull Raid, it's kind of a way to draw cards, but it's really matchup dependent. If our opponent is fellow aggro, we'd probably be drawing cards. We got to eat the Disdainful Stroke, so that's a thing. Now, yeah, gain 4 or more life each turn. Yeah, haha, I don't think that's happening quite as much. So opponent is going Super Maze Mind Tome. So we hit the Valkyrie Harbinger, but our opponent's at like 6 mana at this point. At least we got them to discard the 2 Disdainful Strokes. They probably still have a regular kill spell though. So Heartless Act. So we should be looking out for ways to take advantage of the fact that our opponent kills a lot of stuff. So there is an actual reanimation spell that I'm on the lookout for. I'm also concerned our opponent's just doing nothing but drawing cards here. It's not like we're doing any better. Like enchant permanent can't attack, block, or crew of vehicle. Activate abilities can't be activated unless they're mana abilities. Hey, I didn't realize that we can use this to lock down the Maze Mind Tome. So we learn something new every day. Not the best use though. I probably wouldn't bother that much. Yeah, losing all our aggro super early really hurts a lot. Well, we also had to mulligan one. So far, our opponent doesn't have the land creature for destruction. We're just kind of waiting for our opponent to show how they're gonna kill us. But it's not looking good for the heroes right now. Actually, it's not looking good at all. Opponent goes for the quick cycle. Opponent kind of... Okay, opponent's slightly careless about that. Did not respect the last card. I'm definitely thinking we need to find ways to... Well, I'd say limit control is one thing, but even that's a bit difficult. Opponent's still drawing cards like there's no tomorrow. Opponent has the Heartless Act, has to remove one counter. And it has the Elspeth's Nightmare to finish it off. We'll lose the graveyard, but we don't have any graveyard interaction. So... We're kind of at least we got our opponent to spend 2 cards. It's really... Basically, the Shark Typhoon is supposed to be the win condition. I'm expecting there's at least 3 more copies. Opponent has another Elspeth's Nightmare, so at least we got them to fire the... Yeah, lack of card draw, always an issue with white-black. I'm thinking of alternatives to Skull Raid, like... Skull Raid is not really good as a way of card draw, because like, right now we need to draw cards. We don't need to make our opponent discard. If that's a Saw It Coming, well, can't be helped. Actually, I would not mind our opponent countering this. It's perfectly fine if our opponent counters this. Yep, Saw It Coming. So that's also another pair of cards. Is that pair? Yeah, that's another pair of cards we're cutting. I'm definitely subbing them with like Poison the Cup, but even then, we need to have... Goes for a third Maze Mind's Tome. I guess we could win if they mill out, but there's not. We probably also should be. Yeah, we should be looking for other. Oh yeah, there is the creature. There's the land card. So we probably also should be considering removal for this. There's Eliminate, but unfortunately that one is rotating out. What's... Heartless Axe also gonna rotate out. That's why it's not here. Actually, it shows that we have very few removal pieces. We do have, so my opponent is going ham. Which makes sense. We don't have instant removal. That actually, Bound in Gold will be perfect for this because it's an enchant. It's an enchant permanent. Actually, Bound in Gold would be perfect for this. It would have locked that out. Probably delayed the inevitable for a few more turns. Now, our opponent probably does not want to kill this when this is animated. I actually don't mind if they do. We're literally just waiting for them to drop in. Okay, that's probably gonna do it. I think our opponent has enough mana to activate it. No, not enough to kill us, but... Oh wait, I think... No, they do... They have enough. They animate, they attack, they... No. They don't really have enough, but it's close enough that it's bad already. So we're already seeing the weaknesses of this deck. It's a perfect matchup for, say, the starter decks and for the intro... For the new player reward decks, but... If you want to get serious, I would not take this deck out as is. We're definitely cutting quite a lot of the commons here. Look, the two Skull Raids are going to go... The 3 Expedition Healers probably going to go for something better. The Bound in Golds probably want to look for better removal. Furia also very awkward here. That one's going to go as well. I'm actually thinking that we might need a bigger budget for this. Like right now there's one mythic. I'm thinking that has to be at least 2. Okay, this one's at least a good hand to keep. So we got a turn 2. Actually, the ideal plan is to play this on... Nope, it's cycling. We're playing this ASAP. So, unfortunately, this one's going to be super late. The plan now is going to be basically... Turn 2 Cleric Life's Bond. Actually, I might consider turn 2 Expedition Healer. That depends. Opponent's probably going to cycle this for a 3/3. We might have to play the Cleric of Life's Bond first, if only to start catching up. I would love to play Righteous Valkyrie, but it's slightly awkward. I might... Because it doesn't... No, it will grow this one. It's still a Cleric. Opponent's going for the Fox plan. So, we're not blocking. That's still true. Even if our opponent doesn't have a way to cycle, I'm very sure they have a way to cycle it. The Draenei Healers is basically old tech, so this one's telling us this is an old school plan. So now the plan predominantly is to keep gaining life and out-aggro our opponent. There is an argument for holding this back, but honestly, we were never going to... The good news is our opponent chose to go wide, so that delays this a bit. We will... It means I can safely block Flourishing Fox. Even if he cycles. Yeah, he's holding back. No one's gonna fall for that. You were better off swinging with it anyway and just protecting it. So now we have an interesting situation here. Like, we're down to 12. We go back up to... There's a closing statement. That's also a good option. You gain life equal to the toughness. So I'm probably gonna just swing with Righteous Valkyrie. I'm actually tempted to swing with this one. It'll probably trade off. I don't mind trading for Valiant Rescuer plus the token. Opponent's at 3 cards in on cycling, so they're not that close. Oh, opponent's just gonna take it. So our opponent can come in for quite a chunk of damage. Vengeful Reaper's gonna auto block this one. They could also have the Wait, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. That's quite a bit of damage. So the next play is probably Expedition Healer, gain some life, closing statement to nuke something at end of turn. Yeah, that's a... We have to be very careful. We know how... Because we're more likely to die from early aggro at this point. So let's say our opponent attacks. This is 4, 8, 9, 10. So we go... So this is an auto block. Our opponent could have another starting development. That would be +3. So this is 8. At most it would be 11 damage. Expedition Healer kind of buys us a little bit of time. Now I'm probably not going to swing this Cleric anymore. It's just going to eat the token. Opponent's down to like 5 cards in cycling. They're going to go 6, 7. Go for blood. Okay, that's a bit nasty there. Okay, we got an Aspirant, but we don't actually need that now. So I'm actually gonna swing with the Cleric. Let's force the block with the token. So end step. Kill the Fox. So we're kind of hoping to at least hit 6, but we kind of wanted the Righteous Valkyrie. In fact, we probably want more copies of that. That's probably gonna be one of our first upgrades. The land base is really gonna be sketchy. I probably want to add some opponent actually is playing well. There's still a version behind if they are playing if they're playing cards like Expedition Healer. Oh, we probably should play. No, we're gonna play both. Now, since our opponents clearly showed that they were very behind, I'm definitely gonna swing with both. One to pad our life total. Okay, I was expecting some blocks, but basically I want to pad our life total a little bit. We do get to cast this one next turn. Actually, if our Expedition Healers survive, we will get a big advantage here. Ooh, opponent cycles. They are desperate for that 4th land, so we have to be on the lookout for... Right now, it's X equals 8. If we do get hit, that's actually a good one for us. Opponent is going to hold back. We do have a Skull Raid, but... I'm actually going to swing with everything. Basically, yeah, that's fine. So let's see, attack. Yeah, because this one gets eaten by this. This one probably eats this. This one eats a token. Yeah, let's attack one. The idea is to pad our life as much as possible. Because our opponent's now X equals 9. Got our opponent down to 6. And we now have 8 power, so unless our opponent could choose to snipe the Valkyrie Harbinger. That would be the smart... nope, they're probably going to cycle for blockers, so they're going to have tons of blockers at this point. I might just go for the Skull Raid. Well, the Skull Raid actually helps them. They still have a full grip. So yeah, I'm starting to be down on Skull Raid even more. This is looking even worse. I would probably much... No, the idea is probably that you want this to be like on the cast 2 spells part, but literally only Furiad benefits that one, so that one's a no-go. So we're kind of looking for another kill spell. It's got Silver Kill Campus. So again, we're going to try to gain even more life at this point. Our opponent's going to keep cycling like mad. But as long as we keep gaining life, we might still make it out of this. Opponent, yeah, cycle twice. Let's attack it all. So we probably lose the Starnam Aspirant. That's fine. Oh, they probably want to use that token. Yes. They're gonna use those tokens to block the flyers. We're gonna lose the Aspirant. That's fine. We kind of paired the board a bit. More importantly, give ourselves an extra cushion of life here. So we're gonna end the turn. I'm not gonna bot and give ourselves another angel. That's nice. So we're gonna probably just scry with the campus here. We need to find, yeah, removal is very key, and Ironcrag Pyromancer that will snipe the Expedition Healer. The Cycling 2 not being used to snipe the angels is interesting though. But now our opponent probably does not have enough blockers. So we might actually get one win out of this, which I will take. It's better than nothing. Yeah, but the Skull Raid plan is really horrible. That I sure hope that this is something that Wizard suggested to them and it's not what Game Night suggested. Like, I know I'm betting that Josh and company, they probably know better than this. Okay, so Youthful Valkyrie, not interesting but not powerful enough. I'm actually gonna pass on that. We might end up just drawing a land, which would be sad, but we'll see. Because we're not in a real furry person. Oh, perfect. So now we can definitely buy quite a bit of time with this. Opponent cycles, but that only gives them a ground troop. I might actually just swing in the air at this point. Well, technically that gives them 2 tokens and what, 3 damage to my face, but that's fine. That takes them down to 2. We go back up 4 life. So I'm basically having the Cleric of Lifespan hold the fort. Opponent forced to chump block, but they are running out. But they are running out of air forces. And we're at 28 life, so our opponent's gonna need. Well, they're 1 mana short of the double. They're probably gonna have to fire it now. That makes sense. But so we have like 16. So what we can do is actually attack because all of these have vigilance. Then we can tap away any air blockers as a result. Opponent's gonna cycle. I'm expecting there's going to be 2. I'm expecting there's going to be 2 flyers, but we do have the advantage that these guys have vigilance. And so we can do that before blockers. We also got a Taborax, which is nice. I'm actually going to play this out. Opponent cycles. A bit too premature, but actually never mind. It's kind of set in stone at this point. He's probably gonna snipe the Taborax, which is fine. Now this one's equal to only less power, so we can't snipe Riel, but we can snipe everything else. And there we go. We actually get 1 win out of this. Actually, yeah, with Riel here, it's not too old a version of cycling. It's still one of the older versions though. Most of the newer versions have just replaced re-eld, added some neutralizes because there are some spells you absolutely must counter. Now, if I'm gonna get my monies back, I need to win 3 more times. I'm not too convinced we're gonna be able to do that. But we did learn one thing. If the opponent can't interact with us, we're fine. The problem is if our opponent is able to interact with us a lot, then we are not going to be fine at all. So probably we should be on the lookout for cards that help us protect our stuff. Unfortunately, Fight as One is in Ikoria. That's going to rotate out. So we're going to keep this one. We have the turn. We also get to test out Renegade Reaper, which is not a cleric but is an angel. Now, it's a way to gain life, but without any way of getting cards back from the yard. There are some in Kaldheim though, so we will keep that in mind. It's probably part of our upgrade plan. We should also be looking in Strixhaven as well. But yeah, we're kind of in the lookout for. I was almost about to say I was almost about to say what do you call this? Aliens, androids, and wizards. So we got one Frostbite out, so that's good news for our Renegade Reaper. Opponent's playing. So this could get countered. I might actually just lead off with Aspirant. It probably eats another burn spell. In fact, I want to get as many of those burn spells out of the way, more or less. Oh, Frantic Invent. Okay, this is interesting. Could this be a mill deck? Not quite. This could still be Jeskai Temple, some sort of dragons. Also awkward that we have 2 of these, but okay, opponent gives up the Demon Bolt. We actually do get to play Feria, which is interesting. Yeah, we're gonna do that. Oh wait, we can't do that. So we need another black source. Ooh, that's a horrible mill. We gain some life, but these Rampage of the Valkyries gives us a lot of advantage, especially over their creatures. Because right now these are very soft creatures. In an alternate world, I would also consider just holding back then casting Closing Statement. If we can hit another black source, I can freely play the Renegade Reaper, then play opponent goes for that, so we're going to have to hard cast stuff. We hit the Vengeful Reaper though. Well, that has haste, and we're not in a hurry quite yet, so we're gonna mill ourselves another 4 cards. Again, I'm very curious. Why are we running this? It gains us life, and in this case we didn't even gain life. We whiffed. Why do? It's kind of like it's a mini synergy with the. It's a mini synergy with the big top end angel, but as it is, it doesn't even have cleric synergy. So probably the Renegade Reaper also gonna go. I'd probably just bump up the number of Vengeful Reapers instead. So opponent gonna divide by 0. Kind of hoping we mill out, I guess. Getting Environmental Sciences. I'll be shocked if they cash in the Clue token, just the Treasure token. Oh, they did. Okay. They might have the Frostbite for the Renegade Reaper. Yeah. So once again, we're casting this. Okay. Oh, those are spawns we needed. So we gained some life, but not much else. We're gonna foretell this. Yeah, we definitely need help on the mana base here. The fact our opponent's not doing anything is strangely concerning. Anyway, we're gonna attack first. I probably should attack with Vengeful Reaper, but I want to hold it back for now. I'm always suspicious of anyone that's holding up this much mana. Blitz of the Thunder Raptor. Okay. That's fine. So we're gonna play an Expedition Healer, maybe distract our opponent. Again, because these are Berserkers and not Clerics, we won't get life gain until we actually cast this guy. So so far I've seen Control. I would not be surprised if our opponent just goes Magma Opus at the end. Instead, they're just dividing. Oh, they could go for Mascot Exhibition now. Yep, that's what they're aiming for, Mascot Exhibition. And Will, Scholar of Frost. So one target creature, so it goes for the +1 build. Closing statement: destroy target creature or planeswalker you don't control. I'm actually gonna... So it turns... So, okay, I might be too harsh in closing statement. We probably will want to... It's probably one of the better options, especially since we get to new Planeswalkers. Our opponent looks like they're about to go Alrend's Epiphany on us now. So, yeah, unfortunately, missing our mana is quite an issue here. So what I'm actually going to do is cast the Skull Raid now. See if we can reduce the number of cards in our opponent's hand. So, okay, they gave up the Cinderclasm as well. Yeah, missing out on the black mana really hurts us. So we have to also decide which way we want to lean. I guess if I cut the Renegade Reapers, we can lean towards... Our opponent going for card draw at this point is interesting. Yeah, it's a good way to refill their hand. I think they're going for the greedy Double Vision. Experimental Overload. Okay, so that's an 11 then. We hit the Silver Quill Campus. So I'm actually not gonna bother with this one. Probably just gonna chump it once. Renegade Reaper, chump it again. This is probably lost to us only because we went for so long without a second black mana. We could have gotten at least Furia out early, otherwise we could have gotten the double Renegade Reaper shipped in for a little more damage. So we're gonna lose. So we're gonna actually be taking 11 damage and losing quite a lot here. Also, yeah, this one's actually very good both as a bounce spell and a counter spell. So we're definitely gonna block here because our opponent's gonna just knock it out at the opportune time. I'm guessing our opponent's not doing anything now. Try to stack our life a little bit. I think we have like, this is our last closing statement, so if once we cast it, we probably might as well concede at that point. Oh, gets a new code. Yeah, I forgot about that one. You know what, we're gonna concede this one. Oh wait, we could cast this end of turn, but it's kind of delaying the inevitable. If our opponent had any more experimental overloads, that's one deck that I'm actually gonna be sad to see go. It's actually a very interesting one. The cards from Strixhaven helped it out quite a lot. So 1 win, 2 losses. Not looking so good. Not looking good for us. But then again, I'm not surprised. Usually, these free decks, they're very... They're perfect if you're starting out, but let's say you want to go into rank or into a queue. Like, this was perfectly fine in just play, but that's it. Okay, so yeah, Furia is not carrying her weight. This one's the epitome of win more. Now I get they probably put her in to be exciting, as like say appeal to newer players, but it's not looking appealing at this point. I will also comment that I noticed that at least even the mono white one, otherwise the cleric decks, they're full on overloaded with rares. 4 copies of... Okay, this one not so much. I'm actually concerned with this one because I'm expecting to see a red mana soon, and we're up against Renota. Again, the lack of removal really hurts us here. So it looks like the Angels are not going to be doing any avenging today. Okay, now I'm actually concerned because it's starting to rain a bit heavy outside. There is no reason for our opponent to be on hold here, so either our opponent forgot to move on because there is a Seasoned Hollowblade that can activate. I'm concerned that I might have lost connection. Okay, so let's see. Turn 2... Anyway, let's plan out our next move here. Turn 2, Cleric of Life's... Okay, I need to remember. There is an argument for, say, turn 2 Expedition Healer, because if our opponent were to go Skyclave Apparition, I'd rather lose this than lose this. Now that said, a lot of the good stuff is in the 3 mana slot. Elite Spellbinder, so we probably end up, say, losing the Cleric of Life's Bond. There's an argument for the Renegade Reaper, though. Because that will block their flyer. Again, creature without the synergies. Opponent attacks. We could choose to block. Actually, I'm gonna say we take the damage now. Drop the Cleric of Life's Bond, swing back. Actually, you could just drop another Expedition Healer and swing back, but we're gonna drop the Cleric of Life's Bond now because we know we will gain life out off this guy. So this will at least be a 3/3. Then Skemfar Shadow Sage, pretty much just... Yeah, this is yet another... So many win more cards here. It's not looking good at this point. Now I get the idea of Skemfar Shadow Sage. I get a bunch of creatures. We're in a board stall. However, this is... I would not consider this world this current standard a board stall standard. So opponent kind of correctly does not block. So opponent goes Elite Spellbinder again. We probably lose the Shadow Sage this time. So we have to worry about flyers in a sense. I could trade... But basically I'm gonna keep swinging with Expedition. Yep, they took the Shadow Sage. I wasn't exactly planning to cast that. Selfless Savior. Annoying, but our opponent is kind of hands out at this point. So this one is whenever you gain life for the first time each turn. So if it gets them to sack Selfless Savior, I'm fine. Because that pumps this up to a 4/4. Yeah, Cleric of Life spawned much better than the stuff they gave us in Corset 2021. So okay, we have the option of Starnheim Aspirant. It sets us up cleanly for Furia, and So I'm actually gonna swing with this one. Let's see if our opponent double blocks with spellbinders. I highly doubt it. Yeah, they're just gonna take. So we're probably gonna take 9. Oh wow, 10, 11, 12, 13. We're taking a lot of damage here. Giant killer. Okay, that's fine. So no respect for this. We're probably just gonna take the 9 though. Actually, if we can hit another white source, I can do Furia into Expedition Healer. That would be a plan. Nope, instead we just got another Furia. So we're gonna drop the Furia now. Our opponent's just gonna start tapping it down. That's the problem. So I'm definitely going to have to hold this guy back, if only to block this or this. Which does make these awkward. Opponent plays another Selfless Savior, yeah. Could I afford to take 9? I think I'm gonna take the 9 for. I'm gonna take the 9 now. We're probably not gonna win this one anyway. Okay, actually there, that's fine. We do get a 1-2. We hopefully hit some life. So Taborax. We're gonna take Taborax. Then let's see, we mill an Angel. That brings us up a little bit more. And we might as well swing with Furia, because that brings us up to 9. Although they tap this one, we're forced to block with this. Or they just sack that. The alternate plan is to just leave this behind. They're forced to tap this one. We can throw Youthful Valkyrie up against their Selfless Savior essentially. So doing quite a bit of math here. I'm also concerned that, yeah, the rain's really hard now. It's okay. We did not hit an Angel. That's a problem. So we have multiple flyers. I'm actually going to just not attack at all. So our opponent will have to tap one Skyclave Apparition. That takes out... Can't take out Furia. That's the good news. Giant Killer can though. I'm surprised they didn't go for this, because this is the one that's giving me the discounts. So let's see, 3, 6, 9, 10, 11. Yeah, the problem is we did not gain any life on that shot. So it doesn't matter how we block. So this is good game. So we didn't exactly do very well. Mana is still a very big issue here. Probably gonna. So we're gonna make a lot of these changes first, then we're gonna probably do 1 or 2 free games. Unfortunately, I'm currently in Plat 1 right now, very close to Diamond. I don't want to risk that. I might just run it in play. We'll probably still run into some big ones in play also. So not a profitable one. At least we did win 1 game. Yeah, we have to start considering additional removal. This deck is so lacking in that. So we're gonna turn off the deck list now, because we're gonna edit this. We're going to edit this deck to Kingdom Come. And we're now actually in day 2 of investigating the Avenging Angels deck. Now normally I would have just cut away to me editing the deck and giving it and testing it out a bit. Actually, there's sometimes when I would just edit the deck and leave it at that, but I decided since I didn't play enough games, I would test it out a little bit. And it turns out that we need to actually make a lot more changes. As in, we really have to dump in a lot of stuff. And even then, it's not a perfect guarantee. So, the 2 main issues we have with the deck is... I'm avoiding a lot of cards from core 2021. Actually, I'm avoiding cards from 2021, um, and all the way back to Eldraine. So we are actually losing out a lot of. We're losing out on access to a lot of cards that actually make the deck good. Like we're losing out Speaker of the Heavens. We're losing out Archfiend's Vessel. We're losing out actually the cheap removal. We're losing out Eliminate and or Heartless Act. Even staples like Banishing Light, we're losing out too. So we have to find other ways around taking out certain enchantments. Also, what's the typical control stuff? Doom Foretold, we're losing out on that. We're losing out on card draw like Treacherous Blessing. We're losing out on Elspeth Conquers Death if you have to nuke out something big. So all in all, we're actually a bit hamstrung on this one. The other thing is that I could actually dump a lot more rares into this, but I'm still restraining myself a little bit. But it's only to show the point that the deck, it's nice at first glance, but in reality, it's not exactly a very good. It's not exactly budget friendly. It's not new player friendly in the sense. You will be sinking a lot of money, which might be what it's intended for. So what are the actual changes I implemented? One, we added more removal. Bloodchief's Thirst, Poison the Cup. We're still keeping the 2 closing statements. Rampage of the Valkyries, we cut 1 copy because we're less about angels and more about clerics this time. So we've added a lot more rares, like more copies of Righteous Valkyrie, some elite spellbinders to kind of save us from getting wrecked too early, some copies of Skyclave Apparition to deal with some of the problematic non-creature stuff also counts as removal. I'm guessing we probably could add another Starnheim Unleash, but I'm opting instead for Emeria's Call because the other problem is the mana base. Now back then we had like what 19 basic lands, so a lot of our rare investment actually comes into like Pathways. We thankfully have these sinkholes as additional ETB tap lands, though actually because we are not running temples and not temples, we're not running castles. These are actually the benefit is that the Snowfield sinkholes double up in the sense that it allows our Shine Shadow Snarls to function better. So in fact, we're probably gonna just add that one more after all, right? So that's pretty much the benefit of that. So we add these additional tap lands so that these can functionally come in as untap. And yeah, we might as well just add the 2 more at this point. No one's gonna really cry too much over that one. Yeah, we're also losing out on Fabled Passage as ways to fix our mana on the fly. So we have that issue as well. But otherwise, we also added Professor of Symbology because the deck has issues if like we get stuck at some point. We need a way to hit mana, or else we're really doomed. If we have problems with certain permanents, we may need something like this. Necrotic Fume's probably not the best. I might actually rather have a Mascot Celebration here, but that's another mythic. I guess you could sub it with Inkling Summoning, but I'm just hedging my bets on this. Also, an Introduction to Annihilation, because you just need to have that option. So that's pretty much how this deck is looking like now. Am I still happy with the deck? Not too much. Basically, the entire deck is essentially a compromise. And what they say about compromises, no one is happy when you have to make a compromise. So we're gonna show the deck list. I'm actually going to edit in the 2 Shine Shadow Snarl. So we're actually running 18 rares. We're still lean on the mythics, but not that much. And you know what? I saved up a bit just to get another 500. We'll go for it. So we'll see how this pans out, but am I convinced that we will do better? It really depends on what we run up against. We also have a bit of a matchup issue here, so I can't say that it's that great, but it's still better in some respects. So we run double sinkhole. So we actually have 4 lands to start out with. So that's good. So I'm definitely keeping this one. We have options between these. I probably want to run Symbology first. Let's hope our opponent's not too aggro, or else... Okay, kind of aggro. We do have a Poison the Cup though, so that's something. Opponent a bit... I don't want to say a bit... Horn Beetle. Okay, so this one's gonna grow relatively big. The good news is we did hit 2 basics back to back, so I can kind of buy time. Professor Symbology. I'm probably gonna take the Necrotic Fumes here at this point. So we're signaling that we're willing to take 4 damage. Actually, we're take 3 because I don't think our opponent's willing to pitch that. So there. So now I have some interesting options here. I can just exile this. We just accept that we're taking 4. Alternately, I can choose to Poison the Cup now, or I can just choose to Skyclave Apparition the Lovestruck Beast, get it out of the way. It'll stop the Nessian Beetle, Horn Beetle as a... It'll stop it as a tree. Then next turn I can probably... The next turn that will leave me with some options, though I'm getting concerned because this is mono green aggro and we're down to 2 pieces of removal. We'll probably just have to accept the 3 damage now. And hope our opponent does not have something like a Primal Might, which is a big deal. Sculptor of Winter, okay, so just some ramp. So actually, the Angels are not so great anymore. In fact, I guess you could... yeah, the Angel synergy is not so great anymore at this point. So I'm actually going to just foretell the Poison the Cup. Then I'm going to keep holding back for now. Basically, the idea is we can, depending on the situation, we can either hold up Sajiri Shelter, or we can... Because I'm assuming the worst case is a big Kogla. Now, unfortunately, our opponent still has a human. I kind of wish I tried to throw this under this bus so that we can take that option out, but it looks like our opponent might be stuck in mana. No, I take it back. Probably should have taken this out if I knew this was going to be the case. Kogla. Oh wait, it's cost mana to return. Hold on. So we get lands and another Sajiri Shelter. I kind of want the land at this point, but not the shelter, so I'm actually going to keep the land on. So take another tree for now. So probably gonna just Necrotic Fumes the Horn Beetle because that's a sorcery. So we're holding up shelter. So we're holding up shelter for now. A bit scary, but considering our opponent's been willing to, has the Kogla, has the ability to drop yet another one, I need to at least hold something back. Opponent has the Toski. Kind of wish I held on to that Necrotic Fumes now. If I can draw another Symbology, I can still exile this. I also want to see if our opponent's willing to... The good news is, that's why we held back Sajiri Shelter, and it's good thing we didn't show it. What's that? Green. Okay, so we have an interesting... Well, let's play the land first. Cleric of Life's Bond. Luminarch Aspirant. We're gonna buff the Luminarch Aspirant just in case. So no attacks because it's only gonna just bounce off Toski. We're not gonna be able to take out Toski, but we can Old Grow Troll, so that's an issue, but that's gonna take a while. So I can just buff the Cleric at this point. Oh wait, hold on. So whenever another angel you control, so I can set this as a 1/3, or I can set this as a 2/4. So I think I want this better as a 2/4. I could have gained a lot more life, given myself a bigger buffer. But I kind of want to have larger creatures at this point, so I'm actually going to buff the Righteous Valkyrie. We're going to hold back on combat for now. Opponent hits the Great Henge. Toski forced to attack. Toski bounce. Okay, I'm gonna bounce it off this one. I'm concerned our opponent might have a way to give Death Touch, which thankfully it doesn't have. Okay, I don't want to be drawing lands at this point though. If we had access to Throne of Eldraine, I'd be putting Charming Prince in. That's it. Being able to blink things like Skyclave Apparition and maybe even Elite Spellbinder, those would be good stuff. So I'm actually gonna put the counter here just to be able to head this off. Kind of taking a bit of a risk here. And we're gonna hold this back. No, opponent is able to gain some life back, so basically if I'm gonna make headway, well, I can still attack with just Righteous Valkyrie. Opponent goes Feasting Troll King. Everything's getting bigger and bigger. All of a sudden, I kind of want another Necrotic Fumes. I don't think I want Inkling Summoning anymore. Opponent plays another Old Growth Troll, so everything's just getting bigger. Unless we can punt. Thankfully, our opponent's in the situation where he's just dunking stuff, and oh no, we just flooded out. So I'm actually going to swing with only the... This doesn't have reach. Okay, I'm only going to swing with the Youthful Valkyrie. Our opponent probably could start sacking food, but... Yeah, we need to hit... Yeah, we don't exactly have card draw. That's the other thing. We managed to survive a really bad position, but we're not getting out of this. Also note, rare after rare after rare after rare. That's pretty much the... After rare. After rare. Basically, yeah, that's... I don't want to say that's the reality of the meta. There are some... but only because we still have cycling. Mono Red's not too rare heavy, but it still has some... But still it wants its rares and mythics. Cycling's the only... Is the only... cheap deck, so to speak. And we're about to lose that in 3 months. There's another deck that's relatively cheap. Mono White, no, that's rare heavy also. Yeah, we can safely concede because these all have trample. So yeah, we got dunked by rare, so nothing to be too ashamed of. We did hold off the initial assault. But we do have card draw issues. Even then, originally this deck had Skull Raid. It still would have been horrible in this case. Yeah, our only card draw technically is Taborax. I guess I do have more copies of this. We could essentially just kick off the Valkyries and just add more of this, but that's something to consider another time. So it's really about trying to get card advantage, though we don't exactly have that much. Also because like the cards that okay, so we have a turn 1, turn 2, turn 3 play. We're probably gonna just play the Amerius Call as a land, and we can, if our opponent is playing rogues, we can head off like the first 2 threats more or less. hopefully hit a later rampage, although only this and this are gonna benefit. Opponent plays Alsate. We will play this. Because I kind of... Do I really want Vengeful Reaper? I think I do want Vengeful Reaper. Also, in the event that we somehow draw a Snarl, we can play it off that one. Okay, so our opponent's playing a Winota deck. Wait, no, I take it back. That can't... No, this might just... This is probably not Winota. This is probably the Magecraft deck. For starters, you're running Lurrus, so Winota's out. So our opponent could have burned for the Skyclave Apparition, so we would be trading... But it's better to take as many cards off our opponent's board as possible, especially if they're playing white. So next turn we can either Apparition again or cast this, or I can play this. Ooh, I'm going for the Lurrus. This one's just removal bait. Sounds really odd that we're saying that this is removal bait, but we kind of need to have something like that. I don't think our opponent's gonna play the Lurrus now. So... I need to decide. I can Skyclave Apparition this one, but I probably want to save it for Lurrus. I'm gonna actually play the Youthful Valkyrie. See if our opponent... Okay, no response to that. We gain some life. Play the Vengeful Reaper. Now, also note that if our opponent hits... If our opponent hits enough mana, like say Lurrus into Alsate, they can hold up... No, they can play that and hold up one. So our best hope is actually Rampage of the Valkyries at this point. If we can hit the 5th mana. Otherwise, I can just play the Vengeful Reaper again. Opponent goes Defiant Strike. So this is really a Magecraft style deck. Except our opponent's missing draws. I'm actually curious also... Rimrock Knight. Okay, so he's going for the big lifelink hit. Crash True. If our opponent swings with only this show of confidence, our opponent really went all in. So we're gonna take 8. That's fine. We're not gonna block. But we're instead gonna drop the Skyclave Apparition on this because this is sufficiently big enough. And we get to deal 8 back, so... Our opponent is... Oh yeah, they could play Lurrus. But, yeah, the only thing they can get back is Rimrock Knight. We do hit the closing statement, but we don't hit the mana, so... Next... Swing with only our flyers. I guess there's an argument for swinging with Skyclave Apparition, see if our opponent wants to trade the Lurrus in early. It only gives them a 1/1. So this is essentially a test to see if they block. Yeah, I figured they wouldn't block. So... So we'll see if our opponent has yeah, they're kind of for the deck they're playing, they're awfully flooded. Rimrock Knight. They might have a kills academic probation. That does nothing. Show of confidence. If I had not been gaining life for quite a while, yeah, that was a good game. So that's a, I'll be honest, that's a very weird, this is a very weird matchup we went up against. Usually the show of confidence deck is green-white. Lots of support, lots of cheap spells. You get the support of adventure still there. But I'll take that win. But yeah, at least it shows how important having removal, and especially for white, you want removal that doubles as a creature. You basically want, you don't want to just be spending one card for one card. You still want to get something out of it. So this is an awkward one. Well, actually not too much. I can still play, it's a good thing we have the Amarius Call. I can still play that first. Turn 2 Shine Shadow Snarl, Cleric of Life's Bond. Unless we draw a land, we're going to be passing on an Elite Spellbinder, but I want to drop Cleric of Life's Bond first. Especially if our opponent seems to be a control deck. Our opponent might kill this. I'm actually kind of fine with that. No, opponent does not kill this. They could have... kind of leaving ourselves open to an extinction event, but we'll go for that. If our opponent kills this guy now, there's no extinction event. There you go. So we still gain the 1 life. We still get a 2/2. So this looks like a true control deck, so that might be a bit concerning for us. Bloodsheet. Okay, that's fine. We are heavy white and we have double black already, so Elite Spellbinder. Let's see if what kind of our opponent might just have Essence Scatter, which would be annoying, but we need to get those out anyway. Saw it coming. Okay, fine. I think we got rid of a hard counter, so I'll take that. There isn't, if we can't get the mana for Rampage, there is an argument for, okay, we did get the mana for Rampage. So I'm actually gonna just run this first. Now the thing I learned about this is it's only good at taking out creatures, but it's horrible at taking anything out. The good news is our opponent has not been able to have the time to... Okay, they dropped an Ashiok. So if I want to snipe this, we just have to snipe this now. I'm not gonna wait. So we will play this Sajiri Shelter because I might give myself the option to play this as a 4/4. So we'll lose out on Valkyrie and the land, which is not so great. So Cleric of Life's Bond. Probably just play the Vengeful Reaper. Yeah, I'll play the Vengeful Reaper. Give something to hold this back off at least. Eliminate. Okay, that's fine. But our opponent's been just doing one for ones. We're not gonna attack. So my concern is when our opponent hits 8. Usually when they're playing Ashiok, well, actually 6 is bad also now that we have Professor Onyx. So the good news is because our opponent went Bloodchief's first, we did take that out. So I actually get to play Righteous Valkyrie first, then Foretell the Starnheim Unleashed. Hit the 7th land, so one could cycle for 4. I'm actually good. I'm actually good for that. I'm gonna bait them to do the Shark Typhoon. No Shark Typhoon. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm actually gonna wait. Lockmere Serpent, okay. Maybe I should not have waited. Actually, not too. We'll take some hits here. But then so let's see if our opponent probably has a solid no, Test of Talents. Good news is that's our only card. We're not too reliant on that. We're probably gonna just hold back the Righteous Valkyrie. They could sacrifice an island, which would be an issue. We are looking for ways to get our Righteous Valkyrie killed. Opponent is down to this though. Yeah, they're gonna just start sacking land, so we'll take a hit there. Unfortunately, yeah, that's game. That's sad. That we kind of drew ourselves into a land. So that's good game. We have no way of even killing our own angel. Let's double check what that last exiled card was. Another saw it coming. Okay. So we managed to maintain control up to that last part. I think we might have done better if we went to cast yeah, our opponent had Test of Talents anyway. I was assuming the other cards like Mystical Dispute where we might have a chance around it, but no. The best play is if your opponent's playing it, you just have to go for it. You can't we can't just keep being defensive about that. So we've won 1, lost 2. Really sad if we lose the third one, but that is how it is. So Silver Quill Campus. We're gonna hold the plains. So we're gonna go Cleric of Life's Bond into Righteous Valkyrie. I actually made the mistake. This should have been a swamp because we might need to cast Poison the Cup. Shadow Spear. But this only searches. The concern is that it's not just pure mono blue, it's blue-black, so I should assume some amount of removal here. Yeah, I made a mistake. I needed this to be double black. I can kind of fix it by Professor of Symbology, but it might take a while. Midnight Clock. So our opponent is on the slow boat. Cannot equip this one quite yet. So I should be actually on the look. Okay, we hit a Shine Shadow Snarl. We hit the land, but so what are our options here? I think I still want to do Professor of Symbology. Because the alternate is to just play this, start pumping sideways, except we're taking damage. But once our opponent starts hitting us with removal, it's a problem. I guess we go Symbology first. And because of the way the mana is tapped, our opponent can't use Midnight Clock here. So I was saying we kind of needed the mana, but I'm gonna actually just go for Reduce to Memory at this point. If our opponent blocks, that means they have a board wipe, which would be really bad for us. Yeah, they slightly... No, actually there's no way they would have been able to tap this. They did tap all 3 just to get Midnight Clock. That's fair. So, next turn they... So, hoping for another mana, it gives me the option... Probably not Rampage at this board state. Opponent drags to the Underworld. I'm fine with that. If opponent swings with Frost... Come on, land. Nope, no land, but another Righteous Valkyrie. So... Opponent's still a long way off. So what I can do is actually Luminarch Aspirant. Foretell Poison the Cup. Boost the Professor. Opponent is thinking of regaining life. That's... Also unfortunate that they had to cast Drag to the Underworld at full value. Yeah, with Priest of Haunted Edge, but it's summoning sick. Another Priest also summoning sick. I can pump this one to punch through it. Hit an Emerius Call. So this way, if our opponent takes out our angels, it's not going to be without cost. Also, this can only activate a sorcery. So given that, I'm actually going to pump the Professor down here. We're going to swing with these two. Yeah, that forces the chump block. There's a bit of an anti-timing here. Because our opponent, say, taps this one, goes to Nightmare Shepherd. That's an interesting way to do it. We do have to reduce to memory though, so let's say he goes for that. Oh, they do get the token back, so they can actually sack two. Oh wait, they only have 3 lands. Ooh, they didn't have enough. Okay. So the correct play here is to actually just reduce... Well, I can just show them the card. The correct play here is to poison the cup, the Nightmare Shepherd, take out your last flyer. Definitely don't want those at this point. And so we managed... Well, it also helped that our opponents seem to have gotten stuck on snow-covered sources. They kind of needed one more, but even then we would have still had an advantage because of the Rampage. So we managed to do better than last time, but that's not saying much. Any game after this could be our last, but at this point, without just saying 4 off rare, 4 off rare, 4 off rare, there is really no good way to put this. That the Angels deck, like if you want to do a life gain deck, there are 2 ways about it. One is you can copy the meta now and... Okay, so this one's already paying dividends because of this, so we're gonna go Campus first. We will get the 2-drop. We are kind of looking, but we are looking for another lands in case we need to closing statement. The alternate plan we could have done was just to foretell this. Nessian Horn Beetle. So we're not gonna wait. Also, because next turn we will have closing statements, so that would be an advantage for us. Oh, there goes Nessian Horn Beetle again. They might be holding up Snakeskin Ritual though, so that is a concern. So I might actually well, because I do, unfortunately I know I have this set up next turn, so I might have to just play this now. I'm actually gonna let that grow. And it looks like our opponent did not have the follow-up. Opponent dropping. So pacifism. Okay. Okay. Standard, I guess. So unfortunately, Rampage is not so great. I kind of want to just drop the 2 angels right now. Then drop... Wait, we'll drop Rampage first. Next turn we can then drop 2 angels back to back. Then we can drop Furious Retribution. It's probably the only time we do get angels out. Opponent might be considering sniping the enchantment. There is trashing Brontodon. Unfortunately, that one's also rotating out. So, hey, see, even so, that was a good call. Opponent does still get to play Giant Killer. But now I'm in the position where I'm now in the position where I want to save, because I want to save this one, because next 2 lands will get me a big Emeria's Call. Opponent plays Elysium Caryatid. This is not the new player experience deck, because that one's a 2 adventures deck. So we'll play this. Then we get to swing. We're basically holding on to the closing statements. Our opponent can tap down 1, that's fine. We still get hit with the other one. And if our opponent doesn't do anything, whichever one they choose to tap, we can tap in response to nuke it. So there's an Elder Gargoyle. Unfortunately for our opponent, we do have the mana to closing statement. Rabid Bite. So they will sacrifice probably the Caryatid. There you go. Another Rampage would be interesting. But I need to snipe the Gargaroth, so we'll go to combat. Oh yeah, they don't have the mana to tap, so I'll attack. Stop after attackers, because I forgot our opponent can't pay for that, so let's buff 1. Deal damage. And we might as well tap to snipe this. Next turn we get the angels get double strike, so our opponent is incentivized to snipe these. However, we've been very good at taking care of their board position, so yeah, the removal was very important. Yeah, even something as cheap as Blood Chief's Curse, having that flexibility, very solid. I guess this actually incentivizes more towards angels, but I want to say it will depend on what the next few sets come out with. We are going back to Innistrad after D&D. The D&D set's more likely to give us clerics, so we should look towards that. But the next Innistrad sets, even though they're flavored around werewolves and vampires respectively, so yeah, we'll just show them the last card. And even the closing statement, which I poo-pooed a bit, is actually not so bad. So we do a lot better now. 3 wins. We're 1 win away from just getting our money back, but I will take this one at this point. So any game can still be our last tier. It helps that we're being matched up against decks that are, I believe, are within the same power level as we are. Although that even is stretching it quite a bit. I actually do think we're at the same power level, more or less. So yeah, we are gonna need 3 mana soon. So I might actually just play the Sinkhole first, because I might need to lead on a. Yeah, it's the same regardless. I was thinking of just taking this out now, but the problem with this is, if we do take it out too soon, we play this first and we don't draw another untapped land. Next turn we are doing nothing. So I might as well just take early damage for now, But our opponent so far looks like they're playing a Jeskai flavored version of this, so it is more resilient than we think. So now I need to decide. I'm probably gonna just play the Sajiri Glacier, snipe the Blood Chief's Thirst, stem some of the bleeding, force them to have another plan. Then next turn we will have the options of Righteous Valkyrie, Closing Statement. Probably my best option is Elite Spellbinder, Iron Crag Pyromancer. Okay, now as someone who's been playing the cycling deck, you don't play this on turn 3. You play this on turn 4 when you can cycle something and get the value. Playing this on turn 3 is usually a big mistake. Now, the time it's correct is if our opponent happens to have a second one. Okay, so I take it back, that was actually correct. They do get the cycle. So our hope now is to outrace our opponent. My best bet is to actually cast Spellbinder, but I think the better option is Professor of Symbology. Take... I'll probably take the Reduce to Memory. The 3-2 is probably not that relevant. So I'm actually gonna pump up this guy. So this serves as the distraction. Our opponent... Okay, opponent's definitely going wide. So cycles 1, snipes either the Aspirant or the Symbology. Probably... Okay, snipes the Professor. That's fine. We do get to grow this one. Opponent can cycle on our upkeep to take out the Aspirant, but looks like they opted not to. So what are our options? I can Reduce to Memories, take out the Pyromancer. The better bet is probably to assume that they already have Zenith Flare already, so I have to... So opponent's gonna do the double cycle. Oh, they did have a Zenith Flare, so they whiffed on that one. That's the good news. And we get to pump the Elite Spellbinder. No attacks. So next turn okay, Tabarax is a bit concerning. Actually, our opponent having the 6 land also makes us a concern. So we cannot take too much damage at this point. We need to have a way to gain life. Unfortunately, the best way I can think of is draw a land, so Valkyrie Tabarax. Alternate plan, Reduce to Memory the Pyromancer, so we stop bleeding that way. Okay, we're slightly safe because our opponent opted to do that first. And if they're swinging with all that, I am willing to block. So we actually hit Cleric of Life's Bond instead. So we gain a bit more life, but more importantly, this will distract this. So let's say our opponent cycles. Ooh, okay, now that's not good. If our opponent has a cycler now, they snipe the Righteous Valkyrie. We'll see how they distribute it. Oh! They're panning it that way. Okay, so we're forced to do this now. Blood Chief's Thirst is probably better. Yeah, we need to hold these back. If I can hit... yeah, that's the problem. Usually when your plays are starting with the words, if I can hit, you're in trouble. Thankfully, our opponent also seems to be semi-stuck. So... we'll play Professor Symbology first. That gives us life. Now I want to look for... I'm actually going to take environmental sciences now. That gives us extra life gain, but I'm also going to play Taborax. So this should give us a little extra card draw. So next turn the plan is, if we don't draw anything significant, environmental sciences reduced to memory. Where opponent goes on the Zenith Flare. So if our opponent happens to draw another one, then that's good game. It is what it is. Oh, they did. Okay. So sometimes that happens. We did put ourselves in that position. I guess it means that we do want some graveyard hate, but unfortunately the best one, Terra's Beyond It. Elspeth's Nightmare. So we kind of want to wait on that one. Still, we did significantly better compared to the original version, and we did cut off quite a bit of the chaff. So I'm not too unhappy with how the deck turned out. I'm still unhappy that this is the deck that they're choosing as a giveaway, because it's kind of misleading. I think it could still be better, but more often than not, it's a big rare sinkhole. It's gonna if you're following along this, you're going to be sinking a lot of rares. The devious part about this is, if you're not aware about rotation, you're sinking a lot of rares that are not going to be playable in the next 3 months. And don't assume that you're going to be playing this in historic. With the current state historic is in right now, this deck, you'll be lucky to have parity. Never mind winning in historic. At least, more often than not, you're probably going to get blown out, no matter which of the two versions you're taking there. Anyway, that's it for this episode of the Magic Arena Run. If you like what you saw, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, turn on notifications and whatnot. What ideas would you have for a better starter deck to give away instead of just this one? Like, what do you think would be the one that you'd build around? Let us know in the comments. And as far as everything goes, I'm actually looking forward to next month to see what D&D has to offer. Maybe there are some saving graces there that could save this deck. I'll probably take a look at it again when I get to that point. Until then, thank you very much for watching. I hope to see you guys again next time. Take care, God bless, stay safe wherever you are. Have a great week, everyone. Take care.